Hello everyone and welcome to Trending, a new show here on WehoTV that takes a look around West Hollywood and highlights things that are, well, trending. I'm Tracy Savage, your host, and together we're going to find out more about people, events, shopping, parties, and the wonderful collection of trending subjects that makes West Hollywood a city like no other. One of West Hollywood's main assets is the abundance of creativity that flows through this city. It's everywhere. Musicians, entertainers, movie makers, artists, West Hollywood has it all. And today, a Motown legend and longtime West Hollywood resident will join us right here on Trending as we talk about what makes West Hollywood an internationally recognized entertainment destination. West Hollywood is special for so many reasons. One big reason is its variety and abundance of entertainment venues and artists of all kinds. It's just a very cool place to hang out. And speaking of cool, I am so excited to introduce songwriter and performer Cornelius Grant, one of the original Temptations and a Motown fixture. Cornelius, I am a huge R&B fan. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and I'm so excited to meet you and to have you here today. Thank you.
Well, the pleasure is mine to meet a Michigan native.
Thank you. That's right. Go Blue.
Who's also so gorgeous.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, please go on. We've got lots of time. Well, let me ask you, tell us about your career. I know that you started playing guitar at the age of 9, and you've never basically looked back.
Right. I was thought to be a prodigy on the guitar, but we migrated to Detroit at I was about 13. Yeah. And by age 15, I was playing in local nightclubs in Detroit. Yeah. And
not old enough to drink, but old enough to play.
Yeah, I had to leave the stage, between sets and go wait in the dressing room. Or if I drank anything, I had to drink cherry Coke.
Sure.
So anyway, finally, to kind of stretch this out, I was playing with a local group called the Staccatos, and we had two major problems in the group. The drummer was an epileptic, so we were always on pins and needles as to whether in the middle of the show he was going to have a seizure. Yeah. And the saxophone player was an alcoholic.
Oh dear. So
every now and then he would be too inebriated to do the gig, so we would have to use a substitute saxophone player. As it turns out, one of the saxophone players that we used as a substitute happened to be Henry Crosby, who was, at that time, he was already working at Motown, which was called Hitsville.
Hitsville, right.
Hitsville. Yeah. And Hank Crosby, he co-wrote My Sherry Amore with Stevie Wonder and things like that. Anyway, so he had been watching me, playing with me on weekends, and so he called me one morning because I had a partner go ways with the band, and he called me and he said, "Listen, what are you doing now?" And I'm like, not much. Yeah. He said, "Well, Mary Wells' guitar player is being drafted. So grab your guitar and get down to Hitsville right away, because you can get this gig," right? So I thought, okay, went down. And I auditioned for Benny Benjamin, who was the famous drummer who created the Motown pickup, they call it. And I got the gig. Wow. Started with Mary Wells. I was with her for a while. Now, ironically...
was it called the Temptations at that point?
Well, no, here's what happened. The Temptations were singing backup.
Oh, that's right.
And so... So we had a gig in Brooklyn at the club, and Barry sent the Temptations out to sing backup with Mary Wells, also to be an opening act on the show. Yeah. So they did an opening, but they didn't have a guitarist or anything, so I played guitar while they did their show. When we finished, Paul was so impressed that he called me in the dressing room. He said, "Listen, I'm telling you now, when we get a hit record, I don't care who you're with or where you are, you're going to become part of us." Wow. And we just kind of, slapped 5 and that kind of thing. Right? So I left Mary Wells and went with Marvin Gaye. I was Marvin Gaye's first guitar player. Wow. So with Marvin, after about the second gig, he called me into his dressing room. He said, Corn, I need a conductor and a guitarist. Ooh. I can't pay both. Yeah. So you're it. To which I was very, very upset.
Oh, yeah, to have to do 2 roles.
2 roles. Yeah. I didn't know anything about conducting.
Yeah.
So, and I just wanted to play my guitar. Yeah. So I thought about it, and I was like, well, I kind of want this gig. Yeah. So I went to Cornelius in Detroit, a music store, and I bought a book on conducting.
Oh my gosh.
And I stayed up all night
Learning how to be a conductor.
learning how to do that.
That's amazing.
And that's one of the main reasons when I joined the Temps, that was kind of like my function to really conduct the orchestra and a whole bit. And during that time, I learned orchestrations and stuff like that.
It made you more valuable.
Well, yeah.
So you have performed literally all over the world.
Practically, yeah.
You make West Hollywood your home.
I do.
You mentioned we'd have to drag you out of here.
Kicking and screaming.
Kicking and screaming. What is it about West Hollywood? As a performer, what is it that makes you love this place?
First of all, it's centrally located.
Yeah.
You know, there was a point that I didn't own a car when I lived here. I hadn't been here a long time. And so being centrally located, it was easy access to anywhere I wanted to go. If I wanted to go to Hollywood, I wanted to go to Central City, I wanted to go, it was easy access. Yeah. So, and then the people here, overall, very friendly. And the hotel where I live, which is now, the Chamberlain, by the way, they just remodeled it again, so it's fabulous.
Gorgeous,
I mean,
yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Wow,
I
nice.
I really wouldn't leave now. I'm letting them know now. Don't try to get me out.
Exactly.
I'm not going. But yeah, that was one of the main reasons. And as I said, I just love the whole area.
Yeah.
It's been, I call it probably one of the safest areas to live in the city.
Sure.
And I just love it.
Well, February is Black History Month, and West Hollywood has a rich history of Black entertainers. Do you think the city is just such a perfect place for entertainers everywhere to live because of so much, it has so much to offer?
Oh, absolutely. As I said, first of all, as I said before, it's centrally located. The people here are great. And just the whole atmosphere of West Hollywood is just great. I mean, I love the city. I mean, I haven't found, and I've been around quite a bit over the years.
You have?
And I haven't really found any other place that I would rather live, so that's why I'm putting my roots down here.
And young artists come here to perform and to utilize the clubs. What is it that draws not just the artists, but the people to this town? What do you think it is?
Well, this town particularly is a mecca for entertainment.
It is.
I mean, it's the place. I mean, there was a time when we really thought that New York was like the real center of entertainment, but California, Los Angeles particularly, the Hollywood area has become really the hub, the centerpiece of entertainment. I mean, they feel like they come here, they can probably make it here. Yeah. Because the opportunity is so vast here. Yeah. You see.
Yeah. Tell me about the school awards. What is that?
Okay, it's called the Schoolie.
Schoolie, okay.
It's SKOOLE, Schoolie.
Okay.
And it's an offshoot of Old School.
Cool.
So it's an award ceremony that I created. I'll be doing the third one this year. And I give awards to old school artists and entrepreneurs.
Nice.
So the first one, I gave awards to the Marvelettes, the lead singer who was terminally ill at the time.
Okay.
And they hadn't had much recognition, so I gave an award to them. One to Herb Reed, who was the founder. He was the only surviving founding member of the Platters.
Wow.
And he passed away, I think, this year.
Yeah.
Posthumously to Junior Walker, Shotgun,
sure.
And to Harvey Fuqua, who was with the Moonglows. He was also one of the Motown execs and whatever, married to one of the Bill Gordy sisters.
You're acknowledging people who have done so much for the industry.
Right, absolutely. And this year, Regina Jones, I don't know if you probably don't remember Soul Magazine, but Soul Magazine was our Hollywood reporter back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the founder and the editor of Soul Magazine, so I gave her an award this year. Yeah. And also Wally Roker, who was one of the original Heartbeats. Yeah. So I'm, trying to catch the whole gauntlet.
Good for you.
Before everybody passes away, because everybody's dropping like flies.
Oh boy, don't say that. Well, what do you prefer as an artist to do today? Still playing the guitar? Are you conducting? Where's your passion today?
No, my passion today is developing young talent.
I love it.
Mentoring young talent.
Love that.
Because one of the reasons I'm doing my comedy show, like right now, all the comics in town have found out about this place where I do the comedy show, and everybody wants to play there because I explained to them back in the day we had a circuit of theaters where we could sort of learn our craft. We started with the Royal Theater in Baltimore, to the Howard Theater in D.C., to the Uptown Theater in Philadelphia, then the Regal in Chicago, and finally the Great Apollo. Now, after you went through that whole circuit, by the time you got to the Apollo, you had your act together.
You were it.
You had to have it together. You know, so they don't really have that kind of thing today. So look, the comics, I welcome all the young comics that come over there because you know they come and they kind of work out material. I let them, they can use a cheat sheet.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah, that's nice. Sure.
They're trying to,
written on their hand.
Yeah, when they remember the material.
Nice.
But they love it, and I enjoy that. I have a passion for developing new talent.
Yeah.
Both musically and otherwise.
That's
as long
fabulous.
as it's entertainment. You know.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, thank you so much, Cornelius. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you for having me.
Got it. All right. We just had a big event up on the Sunset Strip, all in support of young musicians. More than 140 elementary school-aged bands rock the Key Club, the Roxy, and the Whiskey A Go-Go, all in a celebration of young musicianship, music education, and rock and roll. Sommer Williams was there to tell us all about it. Sommer.
Here on the Sunset Strip, there are over 130 bands, and they're all made up of rock stars between the ages of 6 and 12. The concert is a chance for students to show off what they've learned. With the help of celebrity supporters like Gene Simmons, Carlos Santana, and Britney Spears, students get the chance to learn from professional musicians, practice in a real band setting, and perform at world-famous rock venues.
Well, right now we're celebrating our second annual Winter Rock Fest, which is our mid-year showcase event where we, with the Whiskey, the Roxy, and the Key Club on the Sunset Strip in West Hollywood, host our 160 student bands that have been rehearsing for the past 16 weeks at our after-school program at their schools that are about 70 locations around the city. So they're all coming together on this day to show their stuff, see what they've done up to this point, and have a great rock and roll show.
Our goal is to give the kids a true rock and roll experience. You know, it's fun to play in your school auditorium, but it's much better to play at a legendary club like the Key Club, the Whiskey. You know, all these famous bands have played at these clubs.
And what's your band?
The Broken Handcuffs.
How much practice have you put into this?
A lot. My favorite part is that we get to be on stage at a very famous place. Well, there's people watching us and we're playing for them. I thought there was just like a little bit of people, but really there were tons. And then and then when I was playing, I got the real spirit.
And the kids aren't the only ones that are excited about the performances.
And he's been doing it for 3 years, and he's getting super good at the drums, and it makes his life, I mean, he talks about it a lot. He loves it. It's a big part of what makes his school fun.
But just to see somebody so little getting up there and performing on a stage with an audience like that, I mean,
I'm little?
You're little to me. You're my baby.
Not only is the Rockstar program fun for the students, but music lessons help children with auditory development. And new research from Northwestern University suggests that the benefits can last for years to come. After 8 years of rocking out, Rockstar has become the largest after-school music program in California. To make a donation or learn more about the organization, you can visit rockstarmusiceducation.org. For Trending, I'm Sommer Williams.
The city of West Hollywood has installed new rectangular rapid flashing beacons at key crosswalks. This beacon is at Crescent Heights and Norton Avenue. The other two are on Santa Monica Boulevard, one at Westmount and the other at Orange Grove. About 60,000 vehicles go through this part of Santa Monica Boulevard every day, and we wanted to help make it safer for pedestrians. So when you want to cross the street, you simply push the button and those flashing lights will let the drivers know you're there. Now, remember, these are not stop signals, so as you've been told all your life, always look both ways before you cross the street. For more information about the new rectangular rapid flashing beacons, you can visit WehoTV.org or contact the West Hollywood Long Range and Mobility Planning Manager, Melissa Antall. Melissa can be reached at 323-848-6486.
Welcome back to Trending. I'm your host, Tracy Savage, and today on Trending, we're talking about the entertainers and music venues that have helped shape West Hollywood into the creative city that we all know and love. West Hollywood has some huge celebrations: Halloween, Pride Weekend, the Sunset Strip Music Festival, and certainly on those days, all eyes are on West Hollywood. But on every other day, West Hollywood is still the place to be. And it's because of its vast entertainment venues and the many creative people who make West Hollywood their home. When it comes to music and entertainment, West Hollywood is known worldwide. Now, before the break, Sommer Williams took us up to the Sunset Strip to look at what could be the future of music on the Strip. But now we want to go back and talk about some of the very colorful history of West Hollywood. And we have the very perfect person to talk about it. Our guest today is West Hollywood historian Alan Ginsberg. And Alan, I want to thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, you know, West Hollywood's reputation is known worldwide for being just an incredible place to be. Why is that? And that is true, correct?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And I think it rivals New York. In the United States, it only rivals New York. And the reason is there are places in the world with larger venues. There are places in the world where a performer can sell more records because they have more people there. But West Hollywood has been the showcase. I mean, when Frank Sinatra wanted to go from big band singer to solo singer, he did it with a performance at Macombo's. When Ella Fitzgerald in the 50s wanted to go from being bebop singer to being a popular singer, doing pop songs, she did it at Macombo's. Sammy Davis Jr. had been a performer for years from a kid, but when he went solo and became a star, it was at Ciro's. And later you'll see glam rock, West Hollywood. You see, Motley Crue, the Byrds, performer after performer, group after group. This is the showcase. This is where they get seen, partly because the industry is here, partly because historically people were looking at the clubs. The writers were writing about the clubs.
Well, let's talk about historically. A big loaded question for you. How did it happen? How did West Hollywood become this huge entertainment mecca?
Gambling and booze.
I love that.
And probably a lot of payoffs.
Really?
No. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Up until 1933, you were allowed gambling on the Sunset Strip. Remember, the Sunset Strip in particular, West Hollywood was part of Los Angeles County, as we all know in West Hollywood and the history of it. And you could gamble till 1933, plus payoffs were easier. In other words, because you deal with county people who were downtown or wherever they weren't here. And the mob controlled it. So there were speakeasies. There were speakeasies off Hollywood Boulevard as well. But I mean, there were speakeasies, there was booze, and so the clubs, grew up here. Also, it was, as the Strip was the connector between Hollywood and Beverly Hills, where a lot of the show business people lived. A lot of the agencies and music companies and others, and PR people would have their offices in West Hollywood, and so there became restaurants and clubs, etc., dating to about 1919. But mostly it was because it was the clubs, because it wasn't Los Angeles, because it was a county, or Beverly Hills, it was a county area.
A little bit of scandal, I love it.
A little bit, lots of scandal,
lots
actually.
of scandal. Well, the Sunset Strip is famous for all of these incredible music venues. So we talk about it, we're having gambling up there, but when did these music venues really, really catch on? What was it that really made these venues the place that people, Frank Sinatra, would go to?
Well, remember that you have to remember that Hollywood was built. I mean, Hollywood as a film, as a word for filming, for as an entertainment center, was not now nor has ever been meant for art. It's commerce, and what the moguls understood was that publicity could drive that. And so the stars had to work. Their contract actors had to work 6 days a week, and they had to do PR. They had to go out every night. They had to go as many times as they were told, and they needed places to go out. And so these clubs, whether it was the Trocadero, Ciro's, both of which were for a time owned by W.R. Wilkerson, who also owned the Hollywood Reporter, therefore more publicity.
Nice.
There were more than 400 gossip columnists, syndicated gossip columnists based in Hollywood, who had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of newspapers. And Hedda Hopper just came later. I mean, you think of Luella Parsons, she was earlier, but there were dozens of others. I mean, Skalski and Fiedler, I mean, dozens. And they would go to the clubs, and they would send particularly the young actors and the stars who had films coming out to the clubs to see, so that the gossip columnists would see them and write about them. And they had to have performances. So if you performed at one of these places, you were being seen by the right people. And it was the right place to showcase a new trend you wanted to do, a new song you want. Cole Porter, for example, used to try out his new material at the Cafe Gala, which is where the original Spago's was. I mean, although it had entrance on Sunset Boulevard at the time. There was a piano bar there as well as a restaurant area, and he would try out his new material. Now, he was known for Broadway. He was not known, he lived out here, but he was known for Broadway.
Sure.
But he would, and he had a coterie of male friends who would be around the piano.
Sure.
And they would try out the new material.
Well, today we see the young stars, if they've got something to promote, they will want to be seen. If they want to be seen, they'll go to the great clubs up on the Strip.
Absolutely, and it's still true, and there are fewer of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Roxy, another star, that was the first place they did the stage version in the United States, the stage version of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
I mean, so why there?
Yeah.
Because it was West Hollywood, because it was the Sunset Strip. And I mean, the West Hollywood history, of course, in music also goes down to the Troubadour. It also goes down to Santa Monica Boulevard. It goes to other places. But I mean, the center of it really has been the Sunset Strip.
And we've been talking about West Hollywood as a place for musicians and artists, but it's also a huge place for movie making. There have been some famous studios here through the years.
Absolutely. Right where Trending is being, where we are right now.
Yeah, the studio.
Chatting
is
what was United Artists and is now called The Lot.
Yeah.
And that dates back, actually filming there dates back to the time of World War I. And when it was the Hampton Studios, and through the years, everything from the Manchurian Candidate to the Love Boat was there. Yes, those pools of the Love Boat were in West Hollywood.
They were, yeah. And the boat itself, the pieces of it on stage somewhere.
On stage.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a pool there, and they took over two stages.
That's amazing. My younger brother was an actor and did a guest spot on the Love Boat right there, yes.
I actually wrote episodes of it.
You did? Well, it's crazy small world. Well, we were talking briefly about that the people, the artists lived here, the casting directors and the agents and the producers. And as a result, West Hollywood has developed this incredible list of restaurants. There's everything here, every kind of possible food you could imagine.
And they've always have been. I mean, when you date back to the Trocadero or whatever, but where were the power restaurants? The power restaurants are historically in West Hollywood. Morton's is closed now. Spago has moved to that other city near
We don't
us.
talk about that.
Right. But I mean, the power restaurants and places to go still exist in West Hollywood.
Yeah.
And partly that is because it's a crossroads. Realize that West Hollywood is not the West Side, and it's not the East Side.
Right.
It really is in the center, and it is this bridge between those who live on the West Side of the greater Los Angeles and those who might toil in Hollywood or toil in the Valley.
What comes first, the chicken or the egg? Were there artists here and other people came to be with the artists, or did other people come to be? I mean, how did it evolve?
That's an interesting question.
Because it's known. This, if you want to be
entertainment
in a cool place.
starts on the Strip about 1919 historically.
Yeah.
But I tell you, if you go down streets like Sweetser and Flores and so forth, I mean the area east of La Cienega,
right.
there are older apartment buildings that were owned and even built by studios to put their young contract players. And so it was historical that young contract players were here. Schwab's, where Lana Turner was not discovered,
yeah.
but Schwab's is a place where a lot of the gossip columnists had their offices, so young actors would go up there. So this was always historically a place where the young actors and young musicians would be. In other words, you know, in the 50s, when James Coburn came back from New York, he had really been raised in Los Angeles. He lived in West Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can trace actor after actor, musician after musician. They're drawn to West Hollywood. Hollywood Boulevard, on the other hand, was not permitted, which was really a family place, but it was not permitted to have music venues on the boulevard itself. They had to be on the side streets. But here you could have both Sunset Strip and even Santa Monica Boulevard, although it was a lot, could have them right there and glamorous and lights and all that. And you might say that when did it just as a little tidbit, the Tropicana nightclub in the Isle of Lucy was modeled on Macombo, a Sunset Strip club.
Sure.
And Lucy and Desi were known for going to Ciro's and known for going to Macombo and so forth. But when you ask which came first, I mean, there were some clubs here starting about 1919, but starting in 1927, we can date that young actors lived in this area. They were housed in this area, so they could partake in what West Hollywood was doing.
Sure, get out there, get the publicity, enjoy its restaurants, and work right here.
And be seen by the people who were going to write about them.
Now, you are known as West Hollywood's historian. What do you love about this city? I know that's another big question.
In terms of history and where I live, and when I first moved out to Los Angeles from the East Coast, I wanted to live in Hollywood. I lived in the Montecito Hotel, which was then a dump. And then people said, oh, well, Grace Kelly had been there, Elvis Presley had lived there. It was a dump. And I mean, now they've revived it. So I moved. I wanted to be by the Sunset Strip. That's where I wanted to be, and that's where I've lived in various places, right off, north, Sunset Strip. And when I walk past what's now the Pink Taco, knowing that was the Players Club, and then the Imperial Gardens, and then Roxbury, and then Miyagi, and now Pink Taco, that entertainment value, that excitement, that glamour, that pizzazz has this 70-year history. Wow. And there I am living right by it. I mean, that's what makes me happy.
It's alive.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
and the Ciro's, I mean, the Ciro's is now the comedy club, that it's alive and that it's always alive, and that's important to me. And I want to be, have that aspect of city around me.
Alan,
and then you can also walk around West Hollywood, too.
Right, right. Well, Alan, it's just so fun to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us today, Alan Ginsberg.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
West Hollywood historian. We hope to talk to you again soon. Okay. And that is trending for today. If you have a comment, or if you'd like more information, or if you have an idea for a trending topic, just leave a message at WehoTV on Facebook or Twitter. You can also email and put #trending in the subject. We'll get right back to you. We're going to close out this episode of Trending with a special tribute to Cornelius Grant and the Temptations. I'm Tracy Savage. Thanks for joining us on Trending.